Don't hold your breath for Google Maps on iOS 6. Jelly Bean finally comes to the Verizon Galaxy Nexus, and Apple's in another trademark dispute, this time with the Swiss railway. All this and more today on Appjudgment. This episode of Appjudgment is brought to you by Audible.
Welcome to Appjudgment, your source for mobile app news and reviews. I'm Mauricio.
And I'm Stephanie.
And later in the show, we're going to be taking a look at Reel. This is a new photo app for iOS that you took a look at.
Love them photo apps.
All right. Well, we'll have that in a sec. But first, some of the top news of the day, starting with Google. Google News. Google says Maps not waiting in the wings for the iPhone 5. Now, if you're familiar with this story, you know that Apple launched its own mapping service in iOS 6 a few days ago when iOS 6 officially came out. But there's been a lot of complaints about the TomTom-based service. There's a lot of geographical errors, there's a lot of missing data, and I think one of your major complaints, there's no more
transit maps.
No more transit.
We live in a huge, city that uses buses a lot and trains.
Yeah. So it's been a subpar experience for a lot of people.
Right.
But recently, there's been rumors that Google is going to be releasing its own version of their older Google Maps, the version that we had. But Eric Schmidt told a small group of reporters in Tokyo, "We think it would have been better if they had kept ours." But what do I know? Of course, they're talking about Apple here. That's kind of a little snap, a little burn there. And it's been confirmed that Google hasn't yet submitted an app for approval. So they're just kind of, there is no app in there waiting to be approved. And I think Google is sort of dragging their feet strategically.
Yeah. Just distancing themselves from the Apple products.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems logical that they would have, their Maps app back in there, but, based on that quote, it doesn't really seem like they want to.
No, honestly, I think Google has the upper hand here.
Yeah.
I mean, Apple is so dependent on Google products, both with search and what used to be Maps. I think this is a big conspiracy theory thing, but if they don't allow Google Maps into the App Store, I think Apple's probably working on their own search engine as well. I know that's
what?
Well, I mean, because if you're going to push Google off your phone for Maps, you might as well push them out for everything else.
I don't know. Google's such a well-accepted universal search brand. I don't see that happening very quickly.
I don't think so either. I doubt.
Not saying ever, but that's a big hurdle to jump over.
Yeah, I think Google's going to win this battle, and I think we're going to be seeing Google Maps in the store pretty soon.
Well, speaking of Apple battles, Apple has agreed to meet with Swiss rail firm over clock trademark disputes. So, if you haven't heard, there's this beautiful clock that their Swiss Federal Railway has.
Right. This is in the new iOS 6 app.
Yeah, and if you check out the iOS 6 clock, bam, looks the same. Wow. The Swiss Federal Railways actually said that we're rather proud that a brand as important as Apple is using our design, and it's already on show in exhibitions in places like New York.
Yeah.
Very diplomatic.
Very.
They're being very nice about it, and for good reason. The clock design from 1944 was originally a copyright and trademark of engineer Hans Hilfiger, and now watchmaker Mondane owns the licenses. And so I think the Swiss Railway company, they're taking the right approach here because Apple's probably going to bring a check to that upcoming meeting.
Probably.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of fighting this design. How can they argue?
That's dead on. Do you think? I wonder if there's a designer at Apple that got into a big pile of poop over this.
Probably. I mean, Apple prides itself, or they seem to pride themselves on being, leaders in design. I mean, they really pick on everyone who kind of resembles anything about Apple. But this just goes to show that, hey, design evolves. Everyone gets their ideas from being inspired somewhere else, and so
that's not inspiration. That's carbon copy.
Yeah, there's a fine line, and so it's not surprising that Apple has taken this meeting, and I hope it works out. I mean, it's a great design. I hope they can still use it, but the Swiss Federal peeps should get their
they're gonna get a chunk of change for this.
Yeah, they should get their payday.
Let's do some rapid fire stuff.
All right, so Starmatic for iOS is your new alternative to Instagram. And Nimblebit's Pocket Planes is now on Android. Netflix extends its new user interface experience to Android phones, and Verizon is finally rolling out Android 4.11 Jelly Bean for the Galaxy Nexus.
Woohoo!
Whee!
Finally, my phone gets an update. Actually, I already updated it with the ROM, the custom ROM that came out, so I'm not going to be getting the official push. I may wipe the phone and try to run the official Jelly Bean, but I'll probably be sticking to the custom ROM for a bit. Anyways, we're going to take a look at the iOS photo app Reel in a sec, but first, Audible.com is the leading provider of downloadable digital audiobooks and spoken word entertainment. Audible has over 100,000 titles to choose from to be downloaded to your Android or your iPhone or your other MP3 devices. You can play it back anywhere, anytime, from books in any genre, in science fiction, thrillers, drama, comedy, business, history, and much more.
Go to audiblepodcast.com/appjudgment to get a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. Again, go to audiblepodcast.com/appjudgment for your free audiobook.
All right, we're here with Stephanie Merrilee on Twitter, and the in-house Revision 3 lead designer.
Hello.
And knows a thing or two about design and photography. So I think you're probably well prepped to talk about Reel.
Reel, R-E-E-L, not to be confused with the other one.
There's other Reels in the App Store,
right.
Beware.
But this one's actually called Reel Photo Collections, and the way to describe this app is it's a way to collect the world around you using photos.
Yeah.
And, okay, right off the bat, they're going to hate this because a lot of people compare it to Instagram, but it's not Instagram.
It's not Instagram. It's Instagrammy,
It's
and that's
Instagrammy.
okay.
Yeah, in terms of, it's a photo collection. It's a photo app.
Yeah.
You collect your moments in albums or collections, as they say, and it's
Right.
nice because you can collect a picture every day at work, a picture of your dog every day, what's outside your window. So it's pretty cool. Over time, you'll collect all these different pictures from different parts of your life, and they're all categorized in the app.
That's pretty cool. So
Right.
essentially, I think what it's one-upping Instagram on is that it's organizing your photos into subcategories.
Right.
Yeah.
You log in with Facebook, which is cool because if you're a Facebook user, it's real easy.
Yeah, it automatically connected me to you.
Yeah, it automatically connected us, but I must have maybe missed the step where I, found friends, because now I can't find any friends. Mauricio, you're my only friend.
It's a lonely world out there, so you should join us once you watch this episode.
Right. So anyway, but you can see all my albums. I can see your albums. There is a continuous stream of photos. Let's talk about the cool things about it. It's a simple app. It's beautiful. There's a little rainbow loading bar that's really sweet. Yeah, the first tab is just the stream of photos. The second tab, I think, is your notifications. The third tab and middle tab is obviously the camera.
Yeah.
And then you've got reminders.
Yeah, so this is
right.
an interesting concept, especially considering that you're supposed to be creating sets. And we were talking about this before, like I can't remember the last time I contributed to my Flickr groups.
Yeah, who knows, 2 years ago?
Maybe more, I don't know.
Yeah, well this one is they aim to solve that problem of letting your albums go stagnant or your reels go stagnant.
Yeah.
So they're going to remind you, which I think is pretty cool. And then the last tab is actually your reels, and it's really nice. They display your photos in collections with thumbnails of different sizes. It doesn't have filters.
Okay.
So,
is that a con? I think that's it's a con to me.
Yeah.
I'm a little annoyed by a lot of the Instagram filters, but I do want to be able to bump up contrasts, which is usually one of the first things I do with mobile photos.
Yeah, because right off the bat, your camera doesn't take amazing pictures. I mean, they're good, but they definitely look a little blah compared to what we can do with other apps.
But at the same time, there is something a little awesome about the purity of just that shot on its own.
Purity.
I don't know.
That's true. There's not, I think I read somewhere that someone liked that there wasn't the pressure to be artsy.
Yeah.
You're just capturing moments. That's all you're doing.
That's good.
I also found that, when you translate it, or the pictures can be pushed to Facebook, which is great.
Yeah.
They post immediately. The downside, I think, is that the albums don't translate with them.
Right.
All your photos will be dumped into one album on Facebook called Real Photos.
Right. So all the subcategories you create within the app don't get separated.
No, they
out.
only stay in the app.
All right. Well, so what do you think? Is this a download or is this a don't download?
I think that this is a don't download yet.
Okay.
I like the way the app works. I like the concept. I think it looks great, but unless they figure out a way to bring albums over to Facebook, and unless they find a way to introduce discoverability of other users and other photos, I can't really see this becoming a staple in my everyday app app usage, but it's got potential.
This is definitely one of those social apps that really needs a critical mass to be successful, but unfortunately I don't think it has enough awesome features to really beat out the Instagrams of the world right now. So
I mean, there is a need for collections and albums. I mean, that's what people are using hashtags for on Instagram. And I think that it works okay, but I want to view my own albums from a central place.
Well, there you have it. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe to us here on YouTube, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.